All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We're going to be discussing today a little bit about writing right. How do you write right? It means you're saying what you mean and you're meaning what you say. Now, when you write right, that just means that you're writing a copy that number one, people want to read. Number two, people won't take a lot of time to read. And then number three, it's stuff that's engaging to people. Nobody wants to write something nobody reads. So here's how we write right. So the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, why do we write stories? People don't read them anyway. Firstly, your peers will read if it's interesting to them. So you want to always create content that's readable to people. Just like many of you are probably on social media. Anytime you post something on social media, you want people to start to look at it. You want them to like it. You want them to share it, different things like that. That's because you are posting something interesting to them. Also, on social media, your peers do quick reads. They will scan through different pages and they quickly read what's on those pages. That's the same thing they do with our yearbooks. They do those quick reads. So, number one, your peers will read it if it's interesting enough. Number two, they'll read it if it's a quick read. So, let's dive into that for a minute. We're going to talk a little bit about headlines first. That's the way we grab people's attention before they read anything else. So, you always want to begin with an eye-catching headline. Now, I'm not just talking about the design of the headline, I'm talking about what it actually says. Now, understanding the headlines must be eye-catching using words and understand that those words must not be wasted. Headlines are to be 5 to 10 words maximum. Sometimes I even encourage my students to use even shorter headlines than that. And you'll see that I'm going to feature some headlines that are not even 5 to 10 words. They must also be accurate and specific. They must use present tense and active verbs. And also, when in doubt, pun it out. Now, I talk about puns all the time with my students because it's something fun that, number one, you can get multiple students involved in. If we're having problems in my classroom with coming up with headlines, we start to make puns all the way around the room. And eventually we come up with something that's readable and usable. So when in doubt, pun it out. Now, none of these that I show you are puns. However, we always use puns whenever necessary to get our point across in a funny and in a funny way, usually. Now, masks are a must. Masks are a must. Now, when you look at that headline, masks are a must, we must understand that the headline is a quick read. Uh, Quickly, it is 4 words, and it's accentuated with colors, with contrasting colors. But also, it uses alliteration with the repetition of the M that begins with mask and must. Now, here you see another one, and that headline is razzle dazzle. Now, don't get me wrong, this is 2 words, but those 2 words bring us into the spread. The headline is a quick read, accented with a play on uppercase and lowercase letters. Now, it uses onomatopoeia to grab the audience's attention. When you say dazzle, you think things are sparkling. It almost sounds like sparkle. Okay, so razzle dazzle is an onomatopoeia there. Now, how to get them to read. Once you've got their attention with the headline, now you've got to get them to read. So there's 3 different ways that we use. First, we focus on what's new. Students are sticklers for new stuff. They don't want to deal with old things. They want everything new. So stick to what's new. Appeal to the reader's emotions also. And also you want to include facts and figures that can be understood quickly. And we're going to get to that here in just a few minutes. Okay, so 3 things: focus on what's new, appeal to the reader's emotions, and also include facts and figures that can be easily understood. Now, we do this with what we call alternative copy. Now, I'm going to later on talk about some straight copy, but this alternative copy oftentimes get people to read much faster. Also, it allows people to engage the spread much easier than it would if we were using longhand stories on every page. All right. Anything but traditional copy and captions can be considered alternative copy. Infographics that diagram information in an interesting way can be alternative copy. Integrating photos and flat icons can represent data, can also be alternative copy. There may be multiple alternative copy stories on one spread. So you might mix and match different ways of presenting this information to your peers. Now we're going to get to look at some spreads where we're going to kind of look at different ways that they presented the same type of information on the same page. This gives the reader the opportunity not to get bored with the information, but also encourages the readers to interact with the page, and it keeps the brain active. When you were looking at a page and we have to switch up our motor function as to how, okay, we're reading this, but now we have to interpret numbers. Now we're interpreting graphics. All of those different things, all of those switches in the brain keeps us alert when we're on our page. And that's what we want to do with Yearbook. We want to keep our readers engaged in the spread. Also, you want to combine alternative copy that tells the complete story in layers with multiple perspectives. So you want to layer on the different alternative copy methods on one spread. So the first type of alternative copy is called the Q&A, or the question and answer. All right, so you find a person with a story to tell. You frame that question so that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to the story. Now, these are not random questions. And I have to say that these are not random questions. These questions have a goal. All right, you want to tell the beginning of a story, the middle, and the end. And you do that through targeted questioning. Okay, so on this spread, this uses the Q&A. If you look on the right-hand side, you can see where it says ready, set, block. Underneath there is an interview with a student. The Q&A is the main story. It allows the interviewee to speak in his or her own voice without the author narrating or drawing conclusions from the interviewee's words. To students, it feels more authentic, and it appears like a quick read, although it has more information than a traditional story would have. Now, this is one that I like. This is from one of the yearbooks from this year. The questions are asked and the answers are near the questions and are accentuated with arrows, stars, and circles. So if you look, it says, we need to talk, dear COVID, we need to talk. We have a lot to say. And then you look at the arrow there and it gives the answer as to what they would like to say to COVID. Thought it was a really interesting way that this group of journalism students put this together. Now, you're going to see later on, I feature a number of spreads that don't have pictures on them. It's only copy. Because we were in the midst of a pandemic, a lot of schools did not have pictures to go along with some of their spreads. So what they did, they came up with really interesting copy that allowed itself to stand alone without photographs. And they featured a lot of students who may not have gotten a feature had we been waiting for a picture of them for the spread. So I think that's a really cool way to incorporate a number of students without necessarily having a picture. We want pictures, however, sometimes they're not necessary. This spread looks great without it. Also, you'll see here, remember I told you that you can use infographics and different things like that to also represent information. This Q&A does not follow the traditional format. The questions asked to the interviewee is represented in charts and graphs with direct quotes to drive home the point. So if you look through all of these different things, it says by the numbers, some definite facts, maybe they'll explain some things. All right. So these facts and figures and different things like that are all put together in such a way that they're actually telling part of the story of COVID. Okay, they're telling part of the story of COVID. Now, if you look, there's flat icons on here. There's different typography. All of those different ways that we use to accentuate and to kind of illuminate different parts of our spread. They did a wonderful job with this particular spread as well. Now, stories and captions for photo collections. You want to select a group of pictures covering a particular aspect of an event or an activity. You want to tell a story about the group of photos in an expanded caption with a headline. Identify people with simple captions. Now, when you're writing this type of copy, you're ensuring that you're getting a quote from people. So you're talking to individuals. You have all the elements of a mini story, but it's in quick read format, which allows tons more coverage to be on the page rather than you taking up a huge block of the page with a story, just like this. So, story captions for this photo collection. If you notice, the photo collection on this page allow multiple students to be featured without sacrificing the opportunity to have a full bleed photo. Also notice how the copy on this page is integrated into the spread, allowing pictures, copy, and design to coexist. This is what I'm talking about when I say you want to integrate your copy. Now, as a reader, I can read each of these captions and get a full story about this particular production that's featured on this page. Same with this one, okay? Same with this one. Same school, same type of activity. However, this is a different spread design, but that quick read aspect is very, very visible. That quick read aspect is very visible. And even more, in our student sections, we can have those same opportunities for photo collections and quick reads. Now, if you notice, this is a collection of photos of their Snapchat friends request thing. I know you students will know exactly what that's called. However, when you use this with Snapchat, you just take a picture of it. It takes you directly to their profile. Now, this is a collection of their pictures along with their quotes that go along with it. So they're saying collecting memories through media, and all of them were asked questions about how they collect with social media. Now, types of alternative copy and mini stories. Now, you want to select a picture that will fascinate the reader. Tell them more. You want to write a short feature story or relate an anecdotal or first-person account. You do that with strong photography paired with a really strong short story, mini story. Now, this mini story right here, if you notice, is short, but it uses those little small, slim columns, skinny columns, to allow readers to quickly engage the text. Now, by using those slimmer columns, your reader is able to read across very, very fast and read both columns versus having wider blocks of text. By doing this, you create a quick read and you engage your audience so that they'll read it more quickly and they're more likely to read the entire thing. Same here. Keep the story short. Keeping the story short encourages readers to engage the entire spread more easily. Okay? If you look here, in the light of, you see tons of students, their pets, and their learning environment. Okay? See them, their pets and their learning environments. You'll see puppy love over here. You can read about students and their animals. You see more than a game. You see the gamers here. Food fight. You see their lunch. Dressing the part. You see what they wear to quarantine class or to their online virtual class. So you've got all of these different aspects of this spread. Tons of ways to tell little mini vignettes of stories. If I were to read Puppy Love, I could read about these students and their pets. It's not a whole article, but each of these students tell about their pet, and therefore I get a full story when I read it. So super engaging content on this spread. Same here, just for kicks. So this is the soccer spread from this school. And if you notice again, those slim columns that allow that quick read aspect to happen. Okay. Tons of copy on this page. However, the pictures stand out because the text seems to not overshadow the pictures, even though there is a lot of copy on this page. But you can read this copy very quickly because of the organization of the page. Now, many stories without photos. Now, during the pandemic, many staffs found themselves without photos of events and events being canceled. Interview students. You want to interview students about what happened or just use the quotes. You also want to interview students about what didn't happen and use those quotes as well. Tell them, you want to tell your audience more. Write a short feature story to relate an anecdotal or first-person account. Now, a lot of times when you're writing first-person accounts in this respect, you're writing and those students are telling from their first-person perspective. So you're not, as the journalist, changing anything. You're literally engaging the text exactly as the interviewee gave that information to you. Just like here. This spread uses a by the numbers format to showcase 11 mini stories and quotes from students. This is approved, 11 things that did happen this year. And then they get, on the flip side of that, cancel 11 things that didn't happen this year. All right, so you have that, approved and canceled. And each one of these tells a huge story about things that happened this school year and things that did not happen. Now, all of these quotes could have been easily put together in a long story with some transitions. However, I think it's more effective if you do it this way, and it's much more reader friendly. So, multiples. When there are too many things to cover and too few pages to cover them, run multiple sports, clubs, classes on one spread. Write a mini story, 3 to 5 sentences for each one, and include a great quote. Or include numerous quotes from different clubs, classes, or sports. This is multiple classes right here. First year, second year, time to explore. All of these are different classes that allow you to engage your audience a little bit further. By including multiple classes on one page, you can tell more of an interesting story. Also, multiple ideas can be expressed on one page. Like this one is welcome to the classroom, and then they took off the R and incorporated a Z. How Zoom took over. Welcome to the class Zoom. So really interesting way that they did that. So they got down to the fashion of the class. They talked up front about what the students did during class. Uh, when you put it that way is a different one as well. Surely could assist, and then you have we hear you, different parts of Zoom as well. So you've got all of these different ideas on one spread. I love the way they incorporated that. And if you notice, it incorporated uh, the flat uh, the flat icons in there. They incorporated textual hierarchy. They also incorporated just 6 little small pictures on this page. However, the spread feels full. It feels very graphic as well because of the way they put everything together. Again, multiple groups also on one page. This allows multiple groups to be featured on one spread, allowing more stories to be told. This Eat, Sleep, and Play, discovering sports outside of school. This incorporates a ton of different sports that students engage in outside of school sports. So you've got everything from dance to weightlifting to sailing to off-campus track, swimming, club soccer, all of those different activities, one page, okay? One page. And then you've also got multiple clubs. This allows multiple groups to be featured on one spread, allowing more stories to be told as well. So you've got Knowledge Bowl, you've got Beta Club, you've got all of these different clubs, FFA, speech and debate, all of these things. And then what you think and what you know are all of these. So it says meet the clubs. Really great way to incorporate those clubs that don't get a whole lot of coverage within the main body of the book. This gives a really strong way to feature those clubs. And then multiple activities in one day. So this is not just Friday night. So they've got camp, football games, stunts, decorating, volleyball games, bonding, traveling, pep rallies, all of those different things, one spread. You've got them talking about cheer on this page. You've got them talking about decorating, dancing, all of those different aspects of the Palm Squad or the cheerleaders is right here. All one spread, multiple activities that they do. They didn't just feature them at football games or basketball games or wherever. They featured them in all the aspects of the sports that they represent. And then quotes. If 12 witnesses see the same event, each one of them will offer a unique perspective, include quotes from a wide variety of students. Um, this one right here came from a school. I love this, the way that they represented this information. The quotes allow us to see this from multiple perspectives and angles, all from the same event. All right. Coronavirus cover-ups. So how masks have impacted daily life of students, and then they represent that information with pie graphs, with icon graphs, in all these different ways. Okay, all these different and creative ways they've used to represent this information. Same school. Same school. Notice the quotes allow us to see This from multiple perspectives and angles. No questions asked is football. That's my drive to study, my drive to be here. That's what this young man said. I promise I'm smiling under my mask. All of these different quotes draw us right into this spread. Super interesting way that they've done this. Also, with this overlay of handwritten, provides a really great, and it almost looks scrapbook, but also looks very modern at the same time. I love the design of this, but also the text on this page, the copy on this page really drives home the idea of what this pandemic looked like for this school. All right. Also, quotes here. If you notice, the only thing on this page is quotes. They did not do a long story in any way. Everything is pinpointed in quotes. Okay. So you're able to go from paint up, from them getting made up for the game, to my fave game, different parts of the game there, student section secrets, all the way through. You've got this really interesting spread from start to finish here. Even here, remember I said if you ask one person to give you a quote, they're going to say something. But if 100 people were there and you ask all 100, everyone will have a different perspective. So everyone was at this fire, and everyone gave a different aspect of this fire. Fire away, students learn to battle blazes in unique academy course. All right. So each one of them told about a different experience they had during this academy course that they took at school. Hour by hour, week by week, month by month. This format provides a calendar-like progression. All right, it includes quotes from a wide variety of students as well. Now, timelines are also within that. It's like day by day coverage, but timelines capture a sequence of events. The challenge is to fill up the space with meaningful quotes and photos. Avoid the temptation to simply list activities. And I see that a lot in yearbooks where people just incorporate different activities, but we need quotes, we need pictures, we need icons and design. Okay, so you want to include those as well. Also, calendars offer a meaningful overview of a month or a season. You want to create a structure and then fill it with facts, figures, quotes, and pictures, such as this. This is an hour by hour spread. Now, if you notice, each of these students tell about their particular day. All right, starting from the time they wake up all the way throughout their day. The spread gives a view through the eyes of students, a timeline for their day, beginning when they awake and progresses throughout their day. Take a look through my eyes. I think that's a really interesting way to put a spread together. It gives a spotlight to these particular seniors, and it allows us to see more about their day and how that day progresses through school. Now, month by month, this is month by month coverage of the election from November. Well, it starts in September and it runs all the way through the insurrection in January. Well, actually, not just the insurrection. It runs through the inauguration of President Biden. Now, the calendar progression at the bottom of this spread with quick read quotes from the student body covers a long period in one spread. All right, so we've got tons of interaction with students. We've got tons of quotes. We've also got infographics on the page. So we've got a ton of information right here as a quick read. They even included Kanye West on here, who was on a lot of state ballots. I thought that was interesting that they would include him and not uh, the rest of the field of presidential hopefuls. Now, month by month, sorry, I left a little hanging widow right there. I'll get that fixed when you download this. You'll be able to see it without the widow. All right, notice the calendar progression at the bottom of the spread with quick read quotes from the student body, covers long periods of time on the spread. So we've got June, August, and October on here. We've got actual dates on there as well. And we've got quotes, kicking off sports. So we've got all of this information available to the students so that they can read it quickly and access it in their access it very quickly throughout the spread. Now, subheadlines. Subheadlines break up long blocks of copy. It creates structure and it fills it with facts, figures, quotes, pictures, all of those types of things. So when you think about that subheadline, our headline is there, and then we have subheadlines that draw us deeper into the spread. So get ready to roar. At Grizzly Retreat, students like the rally, group games, costumes, and the tour. So we've got all of this information. We've got the headline, and then we have the subheadline underneath. Now, the subheadline complements the headline, but allows the reader to move through the spread with multiple ideas, such as this. It's really something. And you've got that bit of information about that part of the spread. So it covers this entire section here, okay? Now, over here, same thing. We've got an engaging headline and subhead, embracing change. Team embraces challenges, encourages each other through unusual season. Then you've got this one. Now, this is an older spread, but I use it almost every year because I love the design and also I love the headline package here. Valley Smackdown. Sloan wins fourth state title. Team takes second at District 12, advance to state. We've got a ton of information there. Very quick read. And that's all in the subheadline. And then you even do the same thing on your secondary packages within your student section. Hanging out. Teams meet online in multiplayer games in space-themed setting. Now, we also love magazine style. I use magazines a lot to teach within my classroom. And in using those magazines, I use magazines like Vogue magazine, and we look at different spreads and different things like that within those magazines to come up with ideas as to how we want to style our spreads within our book. And in doing that, we see spreads like this frequently. Okay, we see spreads like that frequently. And then how do we incorporate that into our book? Easily, like this. All right, so this is all about the mask. Students share the positive side of wearing mask. Now, the cutouts of the mask are in flat lay position, just like a magazine. And the copy helps to sell the idea that is being conveyed throughout the spread. The short, quick reads help the viewer to read quickly and digest the content easily. Same here. Access it quickly, digest it easily. Suited for the snow. And then suit yourself. Now, if you notice for this particular one, they talked about uniforms a lot, united by uniform. And if you notice over on the right-hand side, if you follow the letters correspond with the captions and the quotes from the students. If you look here, the captions are next to the activities and next to the students. Here, same thing. So different ways that you can do this. However, no way is right or wrong. However, I do feel like this is more easily read than matching letters and numbers. Just saying. Now, the how-to. The how-to. You want to use this format when you're when explanations are either necessary or fun. Think of things that may need to be explained and you want to make it fun as well. So this is a how-to survival guide for the semester. Give a guide to doing something. In the case of this spread, before you, it is surviving the semester. This can be considered by the numbers, but I like to consider it a how-to guide because it says, number one, this is what you do. Number two, this is what you do. 3, 4, 5, etc. So it moves you through how to survive that semester. This is a better how-to guide than by the numbers, if you will. Now, you can also do something interesting with a how-to guide if you're working on a cheerleading spread and you're teaching someone how to do one of the stunts through photography, but also through quotes and captions. Numbered list or A to Z. This is a quick way to convey a lot of information. And it also breaks up traditional design within your book. So when you see something that's by the numbers or A to Z, it usually comes as a breaker page or something like that. It breaks up the monotony of the spread design that you have going throughout your book. This is a quarantine A to Z. A to Z is a creative way to organize ideas that all work together under a central theme. The copy allows multiple viewpoints and ideas all in one spread. True editorial features. I love true editorial features. Now, this is long story, but you want to use these true editorial features to feature students that are either exceptional or excel at something, or have a really have a story that of being an overcomer, a winner, if you will. This type of feature is not a quick read, so it is important that the photography draw the reader in, make it fun, and ensure that the copy is well written and very strong, like this one. This story is a feature of a student who is legally blind. And the story talks about her struggle as a legally blind student progressing through high school during a pandemic, but also just in regular life. Not necessarily being able to do the same things that other students have the opportunity to do who can see regularly. So beautiful story here. The next story is about a debater. And if you notice, strong photography draws you into this story. And again, not a quick read, short columns, really thin, which do allow you to read through the story quickly. However, it is a lot to read. So you want to include these, but you don't want to oversaturate your book with long stories like this. You want to keep most of your stories short and to the point, but also I wanted to make sure you understood that there's a place for that longer story. If you give your audience tons of short stories, including these longer stories will allow them to have, again, a rest from the monotony of those short, quick reads and move them into something that's a little bit longer. Just like if you were reading a Vogue magazine or GQ or auto or anything like that magazine, you'll be able to see they have little short quick reads, but also they have longer stories that complement. And again, my name is Roy Vaughn. I'm a journalism teacher at Little Rock Central High. I'm a professional photographer, writer, and activist. So I would love to hear from you in case you have questions about what we've talked about today. And my quote to live by is, you only live once, so write about it and live forever. Thank you so much for joining me today in this Zoom uh, and in this class. And if you have any questions, I can be reached at any time via my email address, roy.vaughn@lrsd.org. And if you have any more questions about how to reach me or anything like that, I'm sure I'll be around or my information is accessible to your advisor. Thanks again, and I will talk to you guys very soon.